Well, hey everyone, how are y'all tonight? Man, everybody's going live tonight. David Burns went live. Texas Bee Supply is live. Tim, Southwest Ohio Bees, was just live. So a lot of people going live. So I was trying to see what y'all was doing. 9 o'clock Eastern time. I figured we would pop in here for a little while and see what everyone's doing. Got the link pinned. So come on in when you're ready. Maybe Charlie pops in here after Lee gave me the deek on Tuesday. So I'd called Lee before the live stream on the 4th. I was like, you know what? It's the 4th. You want to just take the night off? He's like, yeah, I'm flexible. We can do whatever. So I said, all right, well, let's just take the night off then. So I went and was watching TV. And when I came back in here, I saw you guys were live. I was like, oh, Lee decided to go ahead and go live. So I missed that one. So I apologize if you were looking for me. I was watching TV. And so I just figured I'd hang out. The buckwheat is growing. We've had a little bit of rain last day or so. Still warm during the day, but a little bit of rain here and there. And so, let's talk some bees. Click the link, come in. Obviously, this is a chat/group amalgamation here that allows us to keep the topics flowing on what you guys want to talk about. So click it. Come on in. Let's talk. Let's see what we got. Maybe Charlie's still awake and he'll pop in here if he's watching. I'm sure he's got a notification. And says we got 40% chance of rain tomorrow. I was on the phone with Philip, RTX Honeybees, and he dropped his call. So I know he's got some stuff going on with the scouts tonight, so maybe he won't be around. Maybe he will be around in a little while. Got the Swarm Rustler shirt on tonight. Just hanging out. What you guys got happening? Lee, you can pop on in if you want to and explain to me what you got going on with this walker I keep seeing you talking about and what's going on with that. And probably not going to be on a long time tonight, especially if nobody clicks the link. Got to click the link. Todd, you're always cooking, man. You need to get some ramen noodles or something, man. You know what time it is. It's bee time. So, yeah, it's just been a busy week. It's like with the 4th of July. So it's like I had to work Monday. Then we had the 4th of July. Then like Wednesday was like the second Monday of the week. Nice. I like that, Chris. And I had a fume today, Chris. I had a fumigation today. Amazing loaf of bread. What was it? What kind of bread did you make? You got to tell us. I did bottle up a bunch of honey the other day. I bottled up about 8 cases of pint jars and probably 3 cases of 1-pounders. Yeah, it was bed bug fume today. And yesterday I had a full-on battle with some German cockroaches. So the more I sprayed, the more they came running, the more I was killing. So it was pretty intense yesterday. So, Chris, give me a call tomorrow too. I gotta talk to you about something. But hey, what's up, Blaine? And that's a daily for you. Yeah, I get a lot of those kind of calls, and so just working on stuff, guys. Haven't been in the bees. It's been rainy the last couple days or very hot, so I need to. I'm gonna have to pull the trigger eventually and just start knocking them all back down, equalizing, feeding them up, right, getting them ready. So last 2 days I haven't put any feed on them due to rain. That's one of the things with open feed. If I put it out, unless I make it stronger, the rain will dilute it. They'll eventually go back, but sometimes we get so much rain it just fills it up and I have to dump it out. So it's not that good. Let's see. Just making sure what I got here. See if I can find Charlie in here. Charlie. He might be watching. All right, so yeah, Lee, jump in here and tell us about your walker you got going on. What's happening with that? What you're planning to do? Hey, Morgan, Lee is a good person on that mead. His mead is good. My mead was not so good. Yeah, I started getting a couple calls from people asking, did I have queens? And all right, I'll give you a minute. Let me see here. If I didn't get a text. I got a call from someone today and I missed it. Who did I miss? I don't know their number. Don't recognize the number. Yeah, he's got to make bigger bottles next time. We're taking shots in the parking lot. Does anyone know when that is happening? Hey, Chris, maybe you want to go on that cutout with me and bring your bee vac, and then you can swing your detector out of this guy's property and try to knock it out. I don't know. I need to do it soon. Maybe this weekend if the weather holds up. Yeah, this has been a weird week all the way around. I got some driving to do tomorrow with work, but it's not going to be a short day. Mark Miller.
How you doing, Bob?
Doing good, man. Long time no see other than in the chat.
Man, I've been busy.
You've been working.
Yeah.
Now, on the holiday, were you out on the 4th or you were home?
I worked about 6 hours, I think, and then come home and started working in the bees a little while, and then spent time with the family.
Yeah, I tried to do the same thing. I worked the bees a little bit on the 4th, but I'm just starting to try to get things cleaned up a little bit, getting them ready to get stored and try to get the yard at least somewhat organized and picked up and stuff like that. Yeah. So trying to work it out. I still got a lot of bearding on the front, but I noticed today, because we had rain yesterday, I noticed today as I was walking down the driveway, I was seeing a lot of bee corpses scattered all over the place. So I guess some of them forager bees are just getting old and starting to dwindle off, So
yeah, they're wore out.
And if it isn't from flying, it's from keeping the colony cool. Trying to keep the colony cool, I guess.
Yeah, but, collecting water.
But yeah, the buckwheat is. I'll have to take some photos of that. But the buckwheat it's springing up. It's still real thin. Real thin stalk, I guess is what you want to call it. But it's. But they're, I don't know, probably about that tall.
Cool.
But you can see where they wash down into like areas, so it's real thick in some areas,
Real
and other
thick.
areas, other areas it's kind of
Yeah.
spread out all over the place. But
Where they're real thick, they probably won't do very good. Probably too thick.
and we'll see. Let me see, Darren. I'm off tomorrow. I think I'm going to test a couple of frames with a refractometer and see what the percentage is. What I found is on my honey, if I like, because it's in the porch and it's hot out there, if I leave the top of my bucket open, it thickens up just naturally because of the heat out there, right? I just, keep draining it for a few days, and next thing, hey, it's great. So it works pretty good.
I'm
Competing with,
behind on harvesting honey. I need to get on the ball.
that's my thing too. I've got stuff I got to pull. Either that or they're just going to eat it. I think, and that's probably where most of us probably gotten eaten already. But it's just too hot and too much, for one guy to be pulling. So I never know from day to day what time I'm getting off work, what time I can start pulling. And then with the dirt on, man, some of the bees are just jerks. It's like, gosh. And my philosophy is, and I could be wrong, when I open that one colony that's really hot, it seems like every colony I open after that is aggressive too, right? Or more aggressive.
Well, them hot ones are just following you around, and they're pissing off the rest of them, right?
So yeah, and that's kind of what I've been finding this year. Plus, I need to get a spot inside of my porch so when I pull these supers off, that I can go ahead and just treat them with the moth flakes and set them up and be ready to go. Because every time I leave them outside, it doesn't matter. They end up getting wax moth damage and everything else. I did see a neat video from Dry Cut, William over at Dry Cut. He said he did a short video that he bought these clamps from Harbor Freight, and he had some boxes doing what mine were doing, and he put that metal clamp on there and clamped them right in. Just used that clamp and drug them right in, and then just screwed it, squirted some glue in there, drug them in, and then screwed them in place. So that might be a alternative to some of these boxes I've got, trying to snatch them back in. And oddly enough, Blythewood Bee Company sent me a thing on Facebook to pay $10 to set up a table at their general store to sell my goods on the 15th. So it's like, hey, maybe I pay them $10 and then I go out there and sell some honey. I don't know. We'll see. Sell honey at a beekeeping supply stores, general store. So that'd be interesting if I do that. But it's only $10, but you got to bring your own table. Yeah. So I don't know. It'd be the first time I ever.
That may work out.
Yeah, but I feel like when I do that, I got to get there first thing and I got to stay the whole day, right? It's like 9 hours out in the heat, sitting there. And I'm like, yeah, it might be good and it might not be good. You just don't know, until you do it. But it's only $10. So, I mean, it's like a Happy Meal or something, it's nothing too dramatic.
Yeah. I don't know if it's your internet, Bob, or mine.
Well,
cutting out real bad.
Mine appears to be going okay right now. It looks like Randy Klingon caught another swarm today up in Ohio. Let's see if I can share that picture he just sent to me. Good looking swarm.
I can't hear you at all now.
I can hear your mic. When you just touched it, I could hear it. Yeah, most of them. Well, the thing is with the bee supply store, they own a general store as well. So the general store part of it is it's like at a different location from the bee supply. So it's like he's got the bee supply store, then he's got a general store, And the general store is on the same property as the warehouse for the bee supply store. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I do it, maybe I don't. Maybe laziness just kicks over and I'm like, don't worry about it right now. I'm letting all the smaller guys sell out, Let them go ahead and sell out their honey. And then all of a sudden I can put whatever price I want to on mine, I guess. But I had a guy today who really wanted honey, man. He was sitting there leaning on the horn out front. I'm like, man, give me a second. I'm not going to teleport out to you to sell the honey. Yeah, that's it. See how I feel that morning. And then go over there with a whole truckload of honey. And, oh, there went Mark. It must have been Mark's internet, not mine. Let me see. Philip. All right. So come on, man. Click that link. Let's go. Where y'all at? What's happening? There he is. Jeez, hey. Charlie. What's the... Hey. You must have a bad internet. Your internet must lag behind everybody's. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah, I've been busy.
So what you been up to?
I bottled about 22 pounds of honey here this afternoon and went to the gym to work on my sciatic nerve problems and sweating my butt off all day with this humidity we got up here.
Well, Lee says he's in a walker, and I'm waiting on him to come and explain why he's in a walker. But,
really?
Yeah, I just saw it in Tim's chat earlier on Tim's live. And see what he's talking about. He said, give him a minute. It's been a few minutes.
Right. But I've been doing that. Let's see what else. Oh, the guy that was helping me out in the video, I don't know if you've seen the video about Tim. He came, and him and his wife came last night and spun all his honey out. He had about 190 some pounds for his first year of harvesting. And so he's done and out of my way. And then, hey, there he is.
How you doing tonight is the real question. What's wrong with you?
I thought it was a pulled muscle at first, and then rubbing the muscle, it didn't hurt. So I'm thinking maybe kidney stone. I ended up in the ER yesterday, and they done CAT scan and all that. It's no stone, no infection in blood. They said they're thinking sciatic nerve.
You got me. Oh, man,
So my whole left side is almost non-functioning at the moment. It took me 33 minutes to get out of bed and actually stand up straight this morning.
Is your leg like a big toothache?
Yeah, my left one. My whole left side mainly.
Now you're talking about from your waist down, correct?
Yeah.
Right. I know what you mean.
Like I said, 33 minutes just to stand up. That wasn't walking. It took me a little while longer
like
to
me
walk.
that you were even worse than what I was a month and a half to 2 months ago, because we were baling hay. I was helping my son bale hay, and it was for a while there. Sitting wasn't so bad, but I guess sitting in that tractor in a twist, it just would throb. And I put ice packs on down there. I had to buy some out of Amazon, and I've still been using ice packs here lately. And then I have the doctors give me some of those pain pills, that muscle relaxers. It kind of knocks you out at night.
Yeah, well, that's what they gave me, muscle relaxers. They were trying to give me Valium. They said basically it just relaxes your whole body better and knocks you out. I'm like, nah, it's a narcotic. I can't have that operating a crane at work. I said, what else you got? So he just gave me a regular muscle relaxer instead.
Are you still going to work with that?
I'm going to try to tomorrow. I didn't make it today because it took me too long to get out of bed.
I'm just thinking about how you're going to climb up on the tractor.
That's what I'm trying to figure out too still. But when I called safety today to let them know what was going on, I didn't realize a couple of weeks ago I noticed our forklift driver was gone for a couple of days, and he said that was the same thing that happened to him. It's sciatic. They had to go. It took 3 guys to pick him up out of the forklift, put him in a cart, and take him to the truck, and then help him get in his truck to go home.
Man.
So we'll see what happens in the morning. How I feel.
Don't y'all have like a crane operator in reserve or something like that? Or
Well, we've got 3 crane operators on this job, but we got 3 cranes running. We had 4 operators. So it was just everybody busy.
My wife brought me some chocolate cake. It's gone. I knocked it out already.
I'm eating a cheeseburger sub and French fries.
Does this camera here look any better?
Huh?
Looks good, man.
That was the old one. It just seems softer, and then the new one.
Looks good. That's a new camera.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to step my game up, man. You're gonna have me buying more cameras.
That's part of it. It's a webcam, but it ain't just a webcam. It's mirrorless, but that's part of what that little wire mobile rig that I'm making for Hive Life, so we can run around with.
So Philip can run around with it. The mobile reporter.
Have to get insurance for him, huh?
And my phone's got 5G hotspot too, so we should be good if I can get. And you got your hotspot, so we'll be covered
5G.
one way or another. Feels like woohoo.
Yeah, hell, Paul, it must be because the safety guy said his wife had sciatic about 2 months ago too. So it's something.
I was having back problems too. I don't know. I'm the same way. My back just gets. I got degenerative discs in my lower back, so I'll just get real stiff, right? And I'm walking like an old man everywhere. Lee, look what Blaine says. Lee, I mean, it's hard. Oh, you took it down.
No, I was trying to put it up.
It's hard to say it looks good with the subject that's on the camera.
Does that look better then?
You got your on-air sign and you got your T-shirts and whatever.
Yeah, got my honey shelf lit up back there. I noticed in the last video I did, it was real dim. My batteries were going dead, and I didn't realize it, so I had to charge them all back up.
Oh, now that you move out of the way, it looks great. That's what it says. Oh, Blaine, what to do? What to do with you, Blaine?
Nah, it should look better. It's just running off of USB connection right now to the computer. The new HDMI cable's coming in tomorrow for it.
Hey, Honeystone, good to see you. We got plenty of cake, Darren. You just have to be here to get it. And if you come, I'll buy a cake.
You gonna buy a steak too?
I'll buy some steaks.
I
bought steak burgers. I'll buy some Wagyu burgers.
Y'all been doing pretty good though.
Just trying to make it, man. Just trying to make it. I'm at an impasse with my job, I think. I called a meeting with my boss tomorrow, so we'll know tomorrow if it's going to be my last day or week or whatever. I have a philosophy on work, and we've talked about it before.
I do too. I don't like it.
Work just rents your time, right? You will be or at least your job will be posted probably by the time you get back to the house. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Or within a day or two, it's going to be on the website, but posted.
Well, my thing I like or dislike about most jobs. Now, I mean, some of them there is a different way they have to do things, but they always want you to give them a 2-week notice.
Oh, but they give you a 2-minute notice.
Yeah, they don't give you no notice.
Well, the thing is, when I started this job and I was going through the interview process, they told me about the commission structure and how you should make between this and this much, right? And of course, I always think it's going to be less than what they say because at that point they're trying to make the company look good, and it's a good company. I mean, everybody's nice. I enjoy it, but when it comes down to it, you don't go to work for the people. You go to work to put that money in your bank. And in 9 months, I've only made a commission check twice, right? And yeah, or when you got to train your replacement. That's right. So it's like one of the other salespersons said, "Oh, well, I got my commission statement." I said, "Well, I don't ever get a commission statement." He says, "Oh, well, you just got to call the office and have her text it to you." So she texted it to me, and I'm like, "Hell no," you know. Some people will look at $3,000 a month and be like, "Oh, that's all right," but it's no. $3,000 a month, guys. I was making that Ubering like 3 or 4 days a week, right? And I could make the time that I wanted to do it and do all that stuff. So I'm at a bit of a luxury to where I hate to say I don't have to work, but I don't have to work. Because of my situation. I don't pay rent, none of that stuff. So I don't have all that overhead. So it's a little bit different for me than other people, and I get that. But I've got multiple college degrees, and yeah, it's before taxes. That's what I'm saying. That's before taxes. And I only get paid twice a month, on the 6th and on the 21st. It's not every other week. It's not, twice a month like the 1st and the 15th. It's the 6th and the 21st. I'm
not even going to say what my pay is.
And I already know. I already know by your hours, and that's something. So I'm kind of at this thing with work to where all of my sales are based on people calling into the office. So and then, they call in, you're going to sell a percentage of them, you're not. So if there's not that much coming into the office, well, then the end part is you're not getting that many sales, or you're getting sales, but you're not getting enough to make that income that you want. And, I've got multiple degrees, so I'm not unhireable. I just choose to do jobs that make money. And if I'm making $1,000 twice a week, right, or $1,000 twice a month after taxes, that's only about $500 a week. That's for the time demand it takes that keeps me from being in the bee yard and doing the stuff I need to do here that I put out to the weekend. Then it's if you got the weather to do what you got to do on the weekend, or whatever. So that's just kind of where I'm at on the personal aspect. I might hang out. I mean, I don't have a need to really leave, but I don't have a need to really stay either. And I don't work for free. And that's what it comes down to. So when I look at a commission and it's like, oh, well, I should have made $300 and something today. Well, then it's like, why do I only end up with $3,000 at the end of the month? That doesn't make any sense to me. So
I ain't got that big of toys there, Paul.
Yep, Wes, that's how I am too, brother. I learned that that's how it is. Lee, you're a machine. 2 shows in one night. Hey, Andrew. Hey, you're welcome to come on for 2 shows in one night. You see what William says? I'm a superintendent for a construction company, and we own around 15 cranes. So I have a decent idea as to what Lee might make. LOL.
It depends on them bonus jobs like I'm on right now too, though. You get extra per hour for every hour you work at the end of the job. Yeah, Andrew, I probably ain't going to be able to hang out about 15, 20 minutes maybe, and it's time to take some more medicine and hit the bed.
Yeah, Yeah, this wasn't going to be a long stream. Well, we always say that, but then it ends up being a couple hours. But you know, it's this stream is totally generated basically on topics that we talk about or that come up in the chat, right? So you guys honestly drive a lot of the content. Phil, you make $1 million a year being a train conductor anyway, right? Engineer.
They got good benefits because most of them, or as far as I know, pretty much all the railroad is union too. They got good benefits as far as monthly and retirement.
I'm about 30 minutes max for me. Yeah, that's. Oh, I slept today, man. I was like, oh, and here's the other thing: if I leave, they don't pay me anything for 60 days afterwards. So because they're trying to see if anybody cancels their services or anything in the meanwhile, so they can charge it back against what they owe me in lingering commissions. So that's the part that really sucks. So who knows? Maybe I quit and just go to Germany and see my grandbaby be born. You know, that would be nice.
There you go. Yeah, Morgan, I wish I could hit me tonight. I can't, though. Got the medicine.
Yeah, it's always something around here, Morgan. That's for sure. So everybody have a good 4th. I know Lee had that crab or crawfish boil on Monday, right?
No,
the 4th.
Jambalaya.
Jambalaya.
I think Charlie might know what jambalaya is now, but still ain't 100% sure on that.
Kind of.
Jambalaya's got.
All I know about jambalaya is what Hank Williams sang about.
Jambalaya.
Let's put it this way: we had a 30-quart pot going, so we had plenty of jambalaya there.
Let's see. Trying to see. I don't see Bruce's bees live right now.
I don't know.
Let me see. It'd be in my notifications.
What is Boudin? Boudin.
Boudin. Basically, it's jambalaya stuffed in pig intestines, and it looks like links of sausage.
You can forget that, buddy.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do no paunch then either, huh?
We ain't going there with that.
A paunch is basically a cow's stomach that they've cleaned out.
Nah, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that either.
What's that rat that they eat down there?
Nutra.
Nutra.
I've heard of them things.
They pretty dang clean though, if you actually look into them.
Really?
Oh yeah.
For a rat, they're pretty clean.
I guess technically it's a rat, but I would say they're cleaner, more like a squirrel. Basically, I mean they're vegetarians. They don't just eat all kind of trash.
They're swamp rats.
Yep.
Big ones.
Yeah, I was about to say big ones though.
The
Matthew, some of it they do make a blood sausage, but not all of it. They got crawfish boudin, regular boudin, shrimp, and then they got the blood boudin. Basically, Charlie just to let you know they mix the blood and everything in with it and stuff that in there also.
I like blood sausage now. I've had that in Europe.
No.
I can't do that one. All I like is the crawfish.
I think
Tailless beaver is what Nutra is. Tailless beaver.
Pretty much.
Let's see, Jason from Bohemia Bees. I think he was down in Louisiana, down there at the where's that? What's that town?
New Orleans.
Yeah, and he was trying to eat, I'll say the crayfish or whatever they are, and some guy had to come up and show him how to suck them or whatever they do to them.
Yankees don't stray far beyond casseroles. God almighty. You come to the right place. There's no mercy in our chat. No mercy.
Well,
So, hey,
I'm more of a picky eater, I guess you might say.
Did Lynn decide what she's doing with her extractor? Did she figure it out?
But what to buy or whatever?
Yeah.
A lady is moving out to Salt Lake, one of the members, and I believe she bought hers and everything. It's
a Maxant.
I think it's a Maxant, probably a what is it, the 6-framer or 8-framer or something like that.
Like
I had
a 3-framer, but it's got a clip on each side that holds them in. I've seen.
Yeah, it's semi-radial. I had the same thing, but an older version of, I think it was a 3800P. Is it what?
Well, that's good. That'll last her for a few years if she's not planning to grow out of it. But we never plan to grow out of it. We just do grow out of it. Yeah. Some people like James up there is a glutton for punishment to do all that honey with 13 frames, 12 framers.
Yeah, I was about to say that's too much for me.
Now, he said he did order a 30-framer originally, but when they sold it out, I guess sold it out from under him, that he ended up getting what they had left because he needed one.
That's right, Phil. I'm a cheese pizza guy.
Really? Just cheese?
Got to have the pepperoni on it.
Oh, yeah, definitely got a pepperoni on there. Pepperoni and some sausage on there. That's good.
Jack said his gout's kicking up. I would say get you some meat or something, but that'd probably make it worse. Alcohol.
Hey, Sarah. Thank you. We're going to have a Hive Life boil with mead to drink in the parking lot.
Sound like a plan to me.
We'll probably get kicked off the property. What are y'all doing? We had some people here on the 4th of July. They had to work. So, and it was at a Wendy's restaurant, and they pulled one of them little grills like I had my steak on outside the other day, the little blue one you can get at Walmart, and they had it in the little concrete landing before you go inside. They were cooking out hamburgers and stuff right there for their people. They work at a hamburger restaurant, and they were cooking out for the 4th right there. Kind of weird. Welcome to South Carolina.
And who wants to eat a hamburger if you work at a hamburger joint?
They might have had something else on there. I assumed it was hamburgers. It was just Charlie is an Orville aficionado.
I guess.
No, you get a Pop Secret, right?
Pop Secret, whatever. It has nice butter to it.
With butter blast or movie butter. See, crawdads. See, that's how you can tell the Yankees from the Southerners. What are they called down south?
Crawfish.
Crawfish.
Mud bugs.
How about some haggis, Charlie?
I don't even know what that is.
Ain't that like the blood pudding?
Yeah, something like that.
That's that Pennsylvania stuff. I forget that.
That's from England, or Ireland, somewhere like that. They're haggis people, right?
Yes, I don't know.
I don't know if that's the blood pudding or what, but whichever one it is, I don't eat it.
No, I don't either.
I like crab legs. I would do well up in Baltimore area, crab legs and.
Yeah, I'm not. For me being a Marylander, I mean, I like crab cakes. I don't pick crabs very well. A lot of people really, are really good at it and all that. I'm like, just give me a crab cake. I don't need all that time to sit there and, takes you 2 hours to get one crab cake.
I'm not a big fish eater. I like fishing. I'll fish all day, but I'm
not
like
a
big
fish
guy.
I like crab cakes, shrimp.
Well, when I grew up, we were not the wealthiest people, right? So stuff like hot dogs and fish sticks and stuff like that. If that's on the plate, I'll eat everything else on the plate. Green beans, whatever else is on there. And that'll be the last thing I touch. So if I'm getting full, it don't bug me.
I just looked at it. Haggis is kind of like they do paunch down here. It's an animal stomach with everything in it.
Nah.
I'm good. Well, we do, chitlins down here.
Ooh, I don't do them.
You can buy buckets like those, the big square, like almost look like kitty litter buckets, but they're red, and they got on the top it just says pork chitterlings on top, but chitlins is what we call them.
Now I'll do raw oysters or whatever.
Nah,
What about
No.
frog legs? Y'all do frog legs down there?
Oh yeah, definitely do frog legs.
No.
Alligator.
I've never had any alligator. I was in Florida years and years ago, 25 years ago, and we were over there with the Bellamy brothers over there. And anyway, they had some alligator. I should have ate
Bellamy
some.
brothers, man, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah, they were there. They had a farm close by, and they happened to be hanging out at the same place we were. It was a big festival, or not a festival, but a private party or whatever it was. But I asked, that was when they were, they had kind of like fell off the the stage, you might say, as far as being popularity. And I asked him, I said, what the hell happened? And he says, well, the record companies, he says, if you don't have a hit about once every 3 years, you're out.
They stopped promoting you, right?
They promote you and everything like that. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta make it or break it, or you're done. And that was what happened to them.
Well, they had some in the early 80s. They had some popular songs like Do You Love As Good As You Look?
Yeah.
And, stuff like that. Yeah, I used to listen. That used to be my jam. Long blonde hair.
I don't know about octopus. I've had calamari now, fried squid.
No gizzards. No.
Nah, I don't do the gizzards.
We don't want any of that crap.
Has any of y'all used Sertan when saving frames? I did a wash some pollen frames out, letting them dry, and going to spray them with Sertan instead of Paramoth for moth protection. Well, I've never used Sertan, but Paramoth, you don't spray it on them anyway, right? You just put it on a tray or something.
The Sertan will. I have not used it, but I know some folks have had it. They take a little garden sprayer and they spray every comb. And I've heard it works, and I've heard that it didn't work, where the wax moth or whatever got into it. Now, I don't do any of that garbage either.
Okay, so Brian C. said he used Sertan and it worked, but you have to make sure it's dry before you store them or they can get moldy.
Okay, know more about it than I do.
I do like chicken gizzards. I'd rather eat chicken gizzards with hot sauce. Livers, forget about it. I ain't eating it. But gizzards are like, I've never had Rocky Mountain oysters either.
Nah, the only place I ever seen them when I was in the Rocky Mountain National Park, I went to a restaurant there and got a big steak, and they had Rocky Mountain oysters on the menu.
A steak with a side of balls. No, I'm good.
Nope, didn't want that.
I just got a friend of mine gave me a sample of Sertan. It was not actually.
I thought Charlie pulled up a.
What?
Thought he pulled up a Rocky Mountain oyster. I was like, "What in the hell?" And he's like, "Oh, it's Sertan."
But here it says in the instructions he gave me that you spray it on the frames till wet, air dry before storing. So there you go. And so a quart usually treats about 20 medium frames. But anyway,
does 30 medium frames?
20.
2 boxes for a quart of liquid.
It's a product. You can get it from these organic places. It's not Sertan. I'll say it's the off brand, and it's 1 tablespoon per quart. Spray bottle, shake well, and so it don't take much. But Sertan was used years ago, from what Lloyd and all them said. But then the EPA lost its certification. Now they got it back. So whatever.
Let's see. Everybody's on the food kick. Hey, I got to run to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. Y'all keep it up. You're doing
all right.
I was about to
whatever.
say you hurry and come back because I'm about to have to run too.
Yeah. But anyway, no, it's been kind of nice. I don't know what I'm more excited about, whether I had because I got my honey harvest is over or whether the amount of honey, but I'm glad it's over with, especially with all this heat. I went.
It was actually halfway cool here today. I think we only got to like 97.
Well, it was 90 here, I think, today. It got up around 90, and humidity was pretty bad. And, oh, I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, go for it, Morgan. It's good.
Yeah, humidity here right now is 74%. Really crappy. But anyway, we got through it today. And on to the next. I did have to, when they came to do their own honey, Tim did, or Scott, I mean, he helped me put in the air conditioner in the window that kind of takes care of the area where the honey extractor is. Keep it halfway tolerable, I'll say. At least humidity, maybe not cold, but it'll keep the humidity down. So anyway,
had a nice, much needed shower last night. Is it that time of the month again, Paul?
That's what
Wasn't
Grammy
even
asked.
Saturday. He put.
That's what Grammy asked.
That's funny.
All right, I think I'm gonna go ahead and back on out here and get some medicine. But I hope y'all have a good night.
Well, I hope
Yeah.
you get better, Lee.
I know what you're going through. Hopefully you will make it to work. I don't know. I think I'd call a sick leave on that one.
I called in this morning and it was breaking my heart to have to call in. I don't like missing work.
Yeah, but how much work will you miss if you have to get back surgery or something because you did something? Give yourself. If it were me, I would take tomorrow off. Then you get Friday or Saturday and Sunday. You got 4 days.
You're probably working Saturday or Sunday.
I don't get another day off until next Sunday. We're working all the way through this weekend.
Damn, son.
Back on 13-1 now, every other Sunday off.
13 on and 1 off?
Yep.
Man.
Well, that's generally most workers are doing that.
Hey,
now,
Brad.
the operators, because we just sit in the cab and we're not physical, basically we can keep running. But it just depends on how they work it. But y'all have a good night. I'm out.
He must be.
All right, man. Take it easy.
You got that big old armored truck taking that money to the bank?
Direct deposit and that stuff.
Hey, Brad. Good to see you. But, yeah, I know how he's doing, man. I've been up at, his hair lately. It's not been quite as bad, but.
All right, Blaine, have a good one. So yeah, that's the thing, man. I just been thinking more and more about the job, and I like the people, but again, I don't go to work for the people, right? So it's a nice benefit when you're making good money and you got nice people to work with. That all works out, but when you don't. So, Brad said he was pilfering the zombies again today, robbing the zombies.
Hey, when Brad talked about taking them old queens and not getting rid of them, but kind of utilized them till they're absolutely, totally wasted. I mean, that's a great tip for beekeeping. Put that old queen in a nuke box and pull brood off. You need brood for some good hive or something like that.
Let her work for you.
Let it work for her. Great tip and all. Yeah. There he is.
There he is, the zombie king. That's
The zombie king. Is that like the goblin king?
Like the goblin. Exactly. So now you need to do a whole series on being the zombie king, how I became the zombie king, and then
The zombie king.
The whole process of your zombie system. Zombie beekeeping.
Zombie beekeeping.
I bet you it'd be your most watched videos. Zombie beekeeping.
Start a new channel, Zombie beekeeping.
Zombie beekeeping. That's it.
That's hilarious.
I haven't seen James in a while. Have you talked to him?
He was on.
He's a pretty busy guy.
Was it last night? He was on one of the nights there.
Yeah, recently.
Yeah, it wasn't last night. It was Tuesday, 4th of July, was it maybe, or Monday? I don't know. Anyway, he came on right quick, and he was in his new out yard, and he had about 40 or 50 hives in that thing. He was putting seconds on, maybe some thirds, and then he had a row of three-ways, I guess you'd call them, and he was getting ready to put all those. They weren't actually three; they were two-way. They were two nukes, and he was putting two-way pallets down to put them in. They're already orientated to their location. And then he was reutilizing the three-ways to fill them with more nukes because he had all those queens that he did. And then he showed the area, which I thought was really cool because it, as far as you could see, was, must have been 1,000 acres of canola out there. It's to the horizon. It was just yellow. And then off to the right, I think there was some kind of I don't know whether it was an oil pumping station there or not, whether they had that out that way or not. It was a tank and whatever.
Yeah, it was an oil. I think it's a collection system where the pumps.
Yeah,
pump the oil into.
It's one of them pumping things like they see in Texas or whatever.
Yeah. So I wanted to share, talking about the zombies. I wanted to share today. I was out there pilfering some, and I looked in a few of them that I had pilfered. I don't know, it was a week ago or so.
Yeah.
And then I threw in some drawn comb to fill the boxes. And you know what? In a week, there's going to be a total slab or two of brood in some of those zombies again to take. So
I hope they swarm on
now,
me.
is that cat brood?
Hope they swarm on me. Yeah. Like what I mean
Really?
is because I don't take the open brood because I don't want my nuke to have to feed open brood.
Okay, yeah.
That's
All right,
I mean.
so now you got that
there's like
21 days there. Okay.
So there's a frame or two of eggs and young larvae in those little zombies now, and so another week that'll be all capped, and off it goes to my mating nukes and boosting my mated nukes and stuff like that. So that was really neat to see. I mean, there's some of those zombies that aren't doing anything. I'm just gonna probably pinch them and combine them and make a mating nuke out of whatever I can. But there's probably 8 or 10 that are really producing.
Now,
yeah, I mean, you had those. That has helped you out with what was it? The nukes or the cell builders that you said that you had?
Well, they've been feeding my cell builder. I've been taking that brood to put in my cell builder.
Yeah, and then you're not, in your situation, you're not diminishing any of your production hives,
right?
And using them, let them keep building and building and building.
Yeah,
and all that stuff.
And also the mating nukes. I built all my mating nukes out of zombies so far. Today I did pilfer a couple of hives that need to be requeened. I decided that, I'll just, because I've got this process going, I'll just bust those hives that need to be requeened up into mating nukes. Because even if I requeen that particular hive, it's not going to really produce anything this year. So I'll just break it up and make 2 or 3 mating nukes out of it.
Yeah, it'd be like the same thing that Michael Palmer had talked about, taking a weak hive or whatever, and like you say, bust it up into multiple nukes.
Yeah.
And then actually gaining better in over the long run.
Because I can get, I'm getting pretty good takes on my grafting now, and so I can get, 2 or 3 mating nukes out of each one of those sort of, failing hives. Those colonies that aren't, and they're not too bad off. They just need to be requeened. So I think
Well, now
use for
with
those.
your grafting, I know you had that trouble, early on, nobody, you had zero take and all that kind of stuff. And then James came along and showed you a few things. So did you kind of zero in on what possibly helped you out? Now you've got better takes.
Yeah, I had a few different troubles. I can't remember early on, but
Was it?
I'm up
He
to
was
like
talking
round
about
6
being
by
in
now.
a hot
Yeah,
environment
my
versus a cool
environment wasn't
environment.
as hot, so I'm doing it in a hot truck cab now with hot wet towels and stuff like that. So I think that's definitely helped. I had excellent bars going when that virgin got out in my finisher, so she took care of
Yeah,
that. She tore
yeah, that
40
was
cells down.
that was terrible.
Yeah, that sucked.
Well, what about I got a question for you with these batteries, the 3x6 with the 2 deeps on top of it.
Yes, sir.
So finally, we had the discussion where I couldn't get the bees to move up there. Well, now after now they're starting to move up, right? They don't have anything to really store, but now they're moving up in there.
Okay.
So now if I've got to pull these boxes back off, do you just shake them down and don't care what box they go into? They'll fly out and come back, or doesn't matter?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Because they're mixing anyway.
They're mixing anyway.
The bees are.
Yeah.
So
it's all younger bees up in there anyway.
Well, as a philosophy, do you believe that that they kind of self-equalize themselves in the boxes as well?
No, they don't. They actually go the other way, and that's why it's important to have the colonies a fairly even keel on that set. Those 3 colonies should be a fairly even strength, because they'll go the other way. If there's one that's weak, then the pheromone from the other one will cause migration from the weak one away to the stronger one, and it'll eventually just disappear. So yeah,
that's what happened to me originally. The middle one was I shifted them around to try to get foragers to come back into that middle box.
Yeah,
because it was the weakest one, and then I go back out and there's really very few bees in that middle box, so I end up just putting a whole new nuke in there. Then it started to work better.
Yeah. So that's one thing. Another thing you can do that was just suggested to me by the guy who manufactures these 6 frame boxes. He said that run 2 6s. So you run the first 6, and then you put your queen excluder, run another 6 frame box, then run your 10s. He said that just gives a little more of a chimney and helps keep those storing bees together within that colony a little higher before they start having a chance to mix. By the time they get that high, then the allure of that other pheromone isn't nearly as much from the other colony.
They're a much stronger hive by that time. 6 over 6.
Well, yeah, I don't mean brood chamber, but what I mean is 6 frames in the bottom box. So then your queen excluder, then your next honey super should be a 6 frame as well, was what he was saying. Just so you get a little more height away from the brood chamber and away from the queen, because she can't go up any higher. So you get a little more height away before the bees have a tendency to be able to go from one box to the next.
I got you.
There's not as much pheromone influence up that high. So that's what he suggested. I don't have enough boxes to do that right now, so I'll be trying that in the future.
Todd wanted to know something about ankle biters, Brad.
Yeah, those little flies are biting my ankles.
Oh, okay.
There's a certain.
What do you got? Black flies or something up there?
We don't have what you call black flies. I think they're small horse flies. and I think they're attracted to a certain composition of sock that I wear that I don't wear very often. And I wore them out there the other day, and it was just awful. They're biting right through the socks. So that's what he's talking about.
Hey,
I got my regular
Brian,
socks back on, and it's not a problem now.
hey, Brian and Paul. Brian asked me how much honey I got. I'm not through, but I'm almost through. It's like 660 pounds roughly.
How much?
About 660 total.
That's
right
more
now.
than you thought you were going to get, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm at 180 here in Capel, and I'm at 4. Oh, what was it? 4 something. Well, 4. I think I was at. No, I'm sorry. I was at 507 in out in the country. 507 and 180, something like that. So I'm getting pretty close to 700. So yeah, I'm happy with it. I don't know how you do a per colony. You know, I'm at 40, but a lot of those were little caught swarms and whatnot. I started the year with, I think, 22 hives. So a whopping 32 pounds per hive that I started with.
Well, I know you're in Texas. I mean, I don't know. I mean, different air. I mean, to me, different air. To me, Texas is kind of like a desert state. But in your area, do you have trees or?
Yeah,
Or
we
like-
have some trees. They're not like the East Texas real tall trees, but you know, the trees are probably 20, 30 feet tall.
Okay.
It's not prairie or anything like where Queen Bee's is, where Jeremy is.
Yeah, is he up there like in the Panhandle area? I've been through the Panhandle. That's the only thing
he's
I
up
know.
around, Amarillo, I think, which is it's just flat.
Flat and deserty.
Yeah, big, flat, and ugly.
So is
Yeah,
that
I mean,
somewhere
as
near an
far as your
average harvest for you, or how is that?
What's that?
Is that an average yield, or how is that?
I have no idea what the average yield is.
Okay.
I mean, last year I didn't get hardly anything, so I'm happy with whatever I got. Now I had to pull a few tricks. I took some of those swarms and put them, side by side in one box and let them work together to fill a super. And I'm anxious to see. You guys were just talking about that. I'm anxious to see if one overtook the other, if both queens are alive. That's the kind of thing I get to look forward to over the next few weeks, is going in and splitting them apart and try to get them into regular boxes, get them ready for winter. So.
I got a text this morning from Scott, who I've been mentoring. He's, I don't know, maybe a quarter of a mile, if that, up the road, eighth of a mile. So he came in, he had, I don't know, 10 to 12 supers, not all honey supers. He found it. Some of them had brood in. I said, well, you can't do that. So anyway, I guess he left out of here last night, and he went home, and I guess he left the supers in the back of his work truck. And so I got a text this morning. He says, I got a swarm in the back of my truck where all his bees, they smelt that freshly extracted honey supers. I mean, it's just like there's a cloud of bees on these supers in his back of his pickup truck. I said, well, yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Hey, Brian, I was playing with the idea of stopping at your house on my way through. I'm actually driving up to Sevierville tomorrow night, but I'll be coming by your house at like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. So I'm gonna leave you alone.
You going to Sevierville, Tennessee?
Yep. Gonna leave probably tomorrow night and drive all through the night and get there about 10 in the morning.
The Coturnix coroner says I lost 3 or 4 hives of pesticide poisoning. Any advice on how to avoid this in the future?
Don't let your bees get sprayed.
I don't have anything near pesticides.
You'll have to determine the source and try to avoid it. If you know when they're spraying, you can cover the hives. And hopefully they spray it late in the evenings.
Where is he located at? That's the thing.
Yeah. Give us more information. Is it a farmer's pesticide?
Homeowners or whatever.
Is it mosquito control? I mean, Mosquito control should be happening right at dark.
But yeah, so right now I've only got 460 pounds. So that's off from last year. But I still have some out there that I have to pull. So I don't know what the final count's going to be. Should be more, at least as much as I got last year. I mean, I only got to really pull about another 5 gallons, and that'll be equal to last year, which I'm okay with. I was hoping for more, but at the same time, a lot of my colonies were splits, brand new queens and stuff. So it was more about getting them to strength and making it through this winter so they could excel in the spring. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
So Phil, you say you're going up to where Hive Life is. What are you just going for vacationing type thing?
Yeah, my father-in-law lives in Sevierville.
Oh, okay.
So we're going up there. I'm going to be there a week. Jared, my son, and I, we're going to come back in a week, and Judy and Sophie are going to stay there for 2 weeks.
Have you been to the Titanic Museum there yet?
I have not. I think the others, that's in Gatlinburg, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all like right
It's all
there.
one big conglomerate.
Ripley's, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I like to drive through Gatlinburg just to see the craziness on my way to the national park. But somebody told me you have to have a reservation to get into the park now. You can't just drive in like you used to.
Oh, I don't know. We were there and obviously for Hive Life, and it was off season, so they didn't really
probably
have too much happening. But this time of year, if you go, it's going to be more like going to Myrtle Beach or something where it's just people everywhere, right?
Oh yes, crowded.
It's like the I don't know. It's like Myrtle Beach in the mountains. That's
my father-in-law lives on the Little Pigeon River. It's beautiful. I mean, and it's like 15 degrees cooler there than it is here, and it rains almost every afternoon, and it's green and clear water. And I just sit on the back porch and just chill out the whole time. I let the kids, they're old enough now, they can go by themselves to Dollywood and Splash Country and Gatlinburg, and they can do all that stuff, and I don't have to deal with any of it. I might go to Dollywood and ride some roller coasters. That's about all I care to do.
Now, Cortex, or how you pronounce that corner there, he lives in South Florida. Well, I can tell you right now, it's mosquito spray.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that. And now here they do, because we're close to the, if you're in an area close to, let's say, the Chesapeake Bay, they do mosquito spray, or as far as the state does type of thing. But if you're a registered beekeeper in the state of Maryland, you'll get a notification in your area on this day. Most of the time in the evenings, they're going to be spraying. So that's where you would throw a wet sheet or something over top of your hive and keep them inside.
I live just far enough in the country that they just give up on this area with mosquitoes. That's I like where I live. I'm close to town, like within 7-8 miles to the Walmart, right? But I'm far enough out to where a lot of that stuff they don't do around here.
Right. Well, that's kind of where I'm at too.
And I've just got a few cornfield. Well, they alternate. Like this year it was corn. Next year it'll be soybeans that they put in. They kind of alternate every other year in the fields.
We have that here right on the farm, and I don't see where that has anything different. It doesn't affect my bees. Of course, I mean, most of everything around me is hay fields, and
except for that crappy corn pollen they're bringing in, the corn dust pollen.
I don't know. They planted soybeans here now. But
so Brad, how much honey do you need to get through the year?
12,000 pounds.
There's a good question. Yeah, probably not 12. I'm thinking 6,000, 8,000. would be reasonable. Probably 6,000 minimum. So, I
Yeah.
mean, by some people's estimation, it's not very much, but by others, it's a lot.
But yeah, it's a lot for us that are doing it as a hobby for sure. But
That yard we put in, that yard James and I put in, that'll yield between 3,000 and 4,000 pounds.
okay, that's what
by
I
itself.
when I saw how they were doing, I was like, well, maybe he'll at least put a dent in some of that.
Yeah, I think so. They're still, they're still filling up the boxes. So the colonies, I mean, some
Yeah.
of the colonies are still not full boomer strength, so they might be a little bit low.
I meant
But there's 40
to
of them
comment
there.
on that video that you ought to put 2 boxes on some of those colonies because there was wax built under the
Yeah,
inner
yeah.
cover, I guess you call it.
I'm kind of low on resources right now, and the reason I didn't is because I'm pretty fussy about my brood comb foundation. I really like to have black foundation in my brood comb, just with aging eyes and that kind of thing. It makes such a huge difference. So therefore, because I'm still adding a second box with no queen excluder, I didn't want to put my honeycomb on
Right.
there. So I don't want to put my honeycomb on there until until I've got my queen excluder on. But I wanted to put that second box on so that she could stretch her legs a bit and round out that nest into the second box if she chooses.
Yeah.
And as long as I shake that down, in the next couple of weeks, then I can put honeycomb on there above an excluder then, and everything will be good. They won't put brood in my honeycomb.
Yeah. I mean, you can get them to pull out a few frames, right?
Oh yeah. Like most of what I put on was foundation. There was only two frames of drawn comb in
Oh,
each
really?
box. It was all foundation. A lot of it was foundation right out of the box, but some of it was foundation that I had pre-waxed as well. So they have a huge head start with the pre-wax stuff, right? That works really well. It's almost like a pre-wax foundation. That's kind of almost halfway to drawn comb. It works so well. So yeah, that yard there should be at least 3,000 pounds come out of that yard, maybe 4,000, depending.
Well, at least you can hopefully keep enough hunting flow for your stores and things that you retail at.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Not lose that market, or at least
Yeah.
that market spot and all that.
Yeah, that's the goal. And kind of compounding the problem is, last year's harvest wasn't huge either, so I'm coming down to the end of my crop now, which often I don't start to come to the end of my crop until fall or middle of the winter, sometimes spring if I have a good crop, like the following. So I can go, 14 to 18 months on one crop, if it's a good crop. But this crop will be running out just about the time I'm extracting.
Right.
Or maybe a little before. Let's hope it doesn't run out before.
Yeah. Well, it's like I filled up about, I don't know, 22 pounds or something like that, just to kind of restock because I've sold a little bit. I fill as I sell, and depending on what sells. And in my bottling tank, I mean, it can take at least another 60 pounds, to kind of bring it back up to the top. And but it's right there where my extractor is, and I'm like, nah, I got enough. But what I was getting at is the bucket that's in the heating or in the hot box downstairs. That is the last bucket from last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm
Yeah.
kind of like right on cue as far as having enough honey to get from one season to the next.
Yeah, and I don't like to pack the last of it right away because I don't know what, I run. What do I run? I can't even remember. I think I run about, I don't know, 10 SKUs or something. So I don't know which SKU I'm going to run out of. first. You know, if I pack it all in 3 kilogram pails and then I run out of kg jars, I'm kind of hooped. If I
That's
if
what
I
I
go the
did.
other way, then I can always, this customer wants a 3 kilogram pail, I'll just say, well, I don't have any, but I got these 3 jars and charge you the same price.
Right.
You know, I can always do that.
Yeah, I mean that's what I learned the first or second year that I was keeping bees is that I did all these, different size bottles, ones and twos and bears. And like you say, I'm like, darn, I wish I'd had the honey out of them bears because they're hard to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wanted ones and twos. And one thing I have, and I track all that with a spreadsheet anymore. And I found that in the beginning, people didn't know what your honey tasted like. So they would buy that little small bear, and that was sort of a tester.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they got figured out what they liked, it's like, okay, the heck with the bear. I want ones and twos and threes. And that's where it is now. Now I might carry maybe 6 bears, let's say 8 bears, 4 in stock and 4 out there where I'm selling, or 3 where I'm selling. Here lately, the bears have been selling a little bit, but nowhere near that what they used to sell for, because nobody wants them. They all like my honey, and I got a clientele built up, and now they're looking for the big stuff.
Yeah, we do some little bears. We do it Christmas for the Christmas market. We put a little red bow on it and make it a Christmas bear. But
Well,
I
mean, one time I had one, like you say, Christmas time's rolling around, and the father comes in. I need 12 of them, to hand out to the grandkids or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But do that.
Right.
I tell them if it's like that, I said, let me know so I can make them for you, fill them for you, and all that kind of stuff. Here's Ian.
He's out on a boat, man.
Most of my look at the man's on the boat. Hey, buddy. Yeah, most of my direct customers, they're buying pails like 3 kg, 5 kg. And again, you can think of a kg as about 2 pounds, just a little more 2 pounds.
And you put that in a pail.
Yeah, it's in a plastic pail.
A little bucket, you might call it.
Yeah.
And now, are they using it to, I don't know, to cook with it because of that way, or is it just like in their tea? Or some women around here, everything is about putting in their tea and stuff.
I guess.
I'm just thinking in a bucket, where around here in the United States, we want to pour it, squeeze it out. A squeeze bottle is what we're selling.
And a lot of my pails, they're the creamed honey. I like to put the creamed honey in the pails because
all right, well, that I can
through the pail to see if it's liquid or not, right?
Yeah. The creamed honey, they're gonna pull it out there with a spoon
it's often a knife. A family or something. They'll have the pails, and I actually have 3 size pails. The big one is 15 kg. That's 33 pounds, and so I have a few customers buy that.
And that's usually a crystallized type honey.
That'll be creamed honey.
Creamed honey, or I can see that now. That way they can pull the lid off and they can take a butter knife or a spoon or something like that.
Well, and even though my clover honey stays liquid a long time, it granulates like everything else.
Yeah.
So to me, I hate selling a liquid 33-pound pail because it's going to granulate before you're down to the bottom, right? So there's a lot of people just don't get it. And, oh, no, liquid honey. Oh, okay, liquid honey. I don't know what their version of creamed honey is. I think it's really nice. It doesn't drip, and it stays the same texture the whole time. But customers always
I don't do any creamed honey. I mean, we would have to cream it and whatever to make it.
Yeah, I understand.
Hey, Doug.
Not big down there. Hey, Doug.
Gentlemen.
How's it going?
It's going good.
Good.
So what are you doing with your bees? You and your son working the canola or what?
Canola's just really started going here, Charlie. We're going to start
Okay.
pulling. We'll start pulling on Monday. We've had a real good crop of sweet clover in this part of the world, and it's filled everything up. Yeah, Brad. Good.
Brad, you had the same type of same good crop.
It's a better sweet clover year this year. It's usually every second year. I wouldn't say it's a fantastic crop this year, but it's better than it has been. And I
Yeah,
know I
and
was,
didn't Ian mention that in his video too? I think.
yeah. And when I was
Okay.
down there, last week or something, it was just thick with sweet clover down there. I haven't been out your way, Doug, in a while.
I think he
Yeah,
was
it's
talking about his nukes, or well, his hives that are growing out of nukes into 10 frame.
Yeah.
That they were really they were bringing it in, and he was putting seconds on to harvest that honey and be able to collect it.
Yeah.
So you're go ahead, Doug.
Last week of June, we had 2 honey supers full, and starting on the 3rd on most of our hives. It was really good here.
And now that's obviously a deep honey super, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's what I figured. Yeah, everything's one size.
Yeah.
And all. Yeah, that's really good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah,
And all.
It's been
I had a pretty good crop here. I mean, nothing compared to what you guys have, but for me, I got like 960 pounds of honey, which is, it was about 115 pounds more than I got last year. And even though I had some queen issues right in the middle of the flow, which I had to correct real quick, I still did well. So I was really happy with that. It'll get me from one season to the next. But we don't have it's like seeing James's video where like your canola fields up there, as far as you can see, it's just yellow, 1,000 acres or more out there. We just don't have anything like that. That's just amazing. The amount of forage that your bees have is just phenomenal. And all. So then you got the sweet clover, you'll harvest that, and then I guess put your supers back on, and then you'll get canola. Anything after that you'll get anything in, or different type of honey?
We'll kind of get a little bit of a wildflower later flow.
Right.
But, that most of that'll stay in the hive.
Right.
I got a question for Brad. Brad,
okay.
Have you got wood ticks in your part of the country?
Oh boy, do we. Yeah, lots.
They just about carry me out of some of the yards here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why you see my yard, the grass is so short. I keep that short because the wood ticks. I mashed a couple today. I'll throw them in my smoker if I can.
Yeah, that's what we do too. But they've been really bad.
Yeah.
Are they like real teeny, like your normal tick we don't call them wood ticks. We just call them ticks.
Yeah.
And then there's those really small ones, which are really bad, are those deer ticks that gives you the, that kind of thing.
Most of what we see, what are they called?
Yeah, they're a deer tick.
Deer ticks, but they're not real big. They're not tiny though.
Okay, the deer tick here is a real small one that you normally can't detect, and then you get the bullseye. If you get bit by them, and then here comes the bullseye, and then they got to give you all kinds of high-end antibiotics to get over it. And then, or the wood ticks are the normal size. I guess that's the one I'm thinking of. I did have one crawling on me one day, and I got it, and there was smashed the hell out of it.
Yep.
But either that or burn it. But
they're a real problem. Just try to make sure you don't get get one embedded in you. But
I had that happen to me when I was a kid, and I had that quote tick fever.
Oh yeah.
But I think they caught it in time I don't remember exactly what, whether they gave me. I guess they gave me some medicine or whatever. And that was the end of that.
Oh yeah.
So.
Well, I know a lot of beekeepers here were sick with that Lyme disease.
Yeah, that's the deer tick thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got what, a 60 frame cow, and don't you, Doug?
Yeah.
Extractor. Yeah.
Yep.
That's what you got to have when that big stuff that you're doing.
New help this year, so that'll be.
What do you got? You say new
Yeah.
help?
And we got new help, a young girl to help in the honey house this year, so that'll be a change too.
Will you get anything done besides looking?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I can do. Yeah.
Yeah, the doctor told me I had to cut down on my sex life, and I said, "What do you want me to do? Quit talking about it or thinking about it?"
That's what happened years and years ago. This farmer was up the road here. He had a barn that had what do you call it, slate roof on it, and the guy showed up to repair the roof, and he had all these really young girls up on the roof, and I don't know whether it was his daughters or what. I think they were. And anyway, he said that they're more catty, as we call it, where they can move around or lighter. They don't break the existing slates and stuff like that. But then my father was talking to the older farmer that was, having the stuff done. He said the same thing to him. He says, you didn't get nothing done besides looking. He says, wouldn't you? And all that. He was kind of an odd fellow, but it was kind of funny back in the day.
Well, that's a way to make all the guys work hard because they're always trying to impress the ladies.
Yeah, see if you can get the most work done.
That's right.
Yeah. How many people does it take to run that extraction line? Go ahead, Doug.
Usually have 2, sometimes 3.
All right, I figured maybe you had to have 4 or 5 or so. I mean, depending on how fast you can go with it.
No.
All right, when you put 60, you put 60 frames in that extractor there. How many minutes does that thing spin to really get all the honey out? Do you know?
About 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
About 10 minutes. Yeah.
And I guess that's spinning. I mean, does it start out slow and then as it equalizes the honey out of the frames, or does it just kind of go all the way up to full speed and of course it's all bolted down to the ground and all?
Yeah, it's up to full speed in a couple of minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's my problem with my, little extractor that, I got it screwed down, but it gets to wobbling and stuff, and you have to kind of let it go for a long time in order to it sort of shakes it all out. So
somebody I forget who said it in the chat, as far as decrystallizing these 1 pound plastic bottles, had given a tip, and I tried it and it absolutely worked. So I just put a cookie sheet in the oven with the oven light on and loaded up with bottles in the evening, went to bed with just the interior light on in the oven, woke up the next morning, they were good to go.
Bob's your uncle.
Yep. That's it. So if you only need to do a few of them and you don't have a big warming tank or something like that, or a warming cabinet, then you could use the as long as it's not an LED light. If it's just a incandescent light.
Those are only 25 watts. So
yeah, I mean, it gets over time. It's it's just did great.
I do know for a fact though, Bob, that those bottles will put up with a lot of heat.
Oh, those plastic ones?
That bottle, yeah, I've warmed that bottle pretty warm. Yeah, it doesn't collapse. You don't microwave it because that's hot spots, but you can get that pretty hot.
I put it in water. I mean, even with labels on it, I would put them in a Ziploc bag. And the only thing is the air in the bag would expand and you'd have to kind of burp it. And then it would lay in the water and, just warm water, for about a half hour. And it was fine. Now I have a warming cabinet down in the basement where I just put it in there and leave it overnight and it's ready to roll the next morning and all. But yeah, or if it's still hot and sunny and warm, put it on your dashboard in your car, and that sun out in the sun,
You betcha.
It'll work it just fine.
I did that and it seemed like it cooked the honey because it was
Yeah, it can
like
get
it was
too hot.
140 to 50 degrees in
Texas, it get too hot.
there. Yeah. I think it works good if you only leave it in there for 4 or 5 hours. But I think I left it in all day when I was at work and I couldn't hardly touch the jar. It was so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're out in that high heat area. Around here it's 70, 80 degrees.
I do know I have I keep mine in glass jars, but I have little taster jars that are plastic, and I can put that in some warm water and it goes to liquid fast. But in my glass jars, it takes a long time and several reheats of the water to get it to make a difference.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil, I ordered some of those 2-inch labels off of Amazon.
Uh-huh.
The Avery ones that you use.
Yeah.
9 cents a label. For you got 120 labels for $10.99.
I think I ordered.
That was the glossy.
There's 12 per sheet. I ordered 100 sheets, 1,200. I can't remember. It was like $30 or something.
Were they the glossy ones?
No, I used these.
The paper ones?
I used the ones that are like craft paper.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
It's kind of my thing. All my like printed materials on that craft paper. It's kind of a branding thing for me. The first year I did it on the glossy whites, but I've started just moving towards got a new computer here, the craft paper labels.
I usually, if I order the Avery ones off of Amazon, I usually get them for like these ones for like 14 cents.
Yeah. I've been getting a little bit better deal off of online labels. So I've been.
Are they Avery labels or are they a different brand?
They're different. They're their own brand. You have to use their templates. I'm using those for like lip balm and I'm thinking about using them for cut comb. I have a little bit of. I think I got about 5 frames of cut comb. I'm gonna do 3x3 squares, so I may get 20 or so out of it. Who knows?
All right.
When I ordered my bottles, what's the company I use? Berlin. If you order 300, you get free shipping, but that's only good for 150 pounds. So that works out just fine for my expensive square jars I use for the Capel honey, but for the Richland honey, I use these sort of traditional
Queen honey. Oh yeah,
these kind. This is a 32 ounce, but these are so economical that by the time I get to $300, I'm over their weight limit of 150 pounds, and the shipping goes from $0 literally to 300. You can order $600 worth or $300 worth. It's still $300 worth of shipping. So what I had to do was I had to get as many of these as I could get and stay under the weight limit. And then I added plastic 1 pound jars and some containers for my cut comb. Ordered something that was light to complete my order, so I didn't have to pay $300 shipping. But they don't have a great deal on the 1 pound plastic jars. They're like $1.50 with the caps. So,
That's high.
Yeah.
I get last time I ordered it was
$118
for 321 1 pound jars from Gamber.
And as a matter of fact, I I may fill like just a handful of those. I'm going to be doing a farmer's market in a couple of weeks. I may have a few of those, and I don't even know if I'll put them out on the counter, but if somebody has children, they like to have the plastic jars because they can give them to their kids and don't have to worry about it. They can squeeze them. But I'm trying to stay away from the plastic jars if I can, just from a branding standpoint. I also will give anybody that returns a glass jar, I give them $1 off their next honey purchase.
You got the exchange.
Yeah, that kind of keeps them coming back. Plus, it saves me a little money, except on one of my jars, the 15-ounce jar that's like that. I actually, by the time I buy a new cap to put on it, I lose money at $1 a jar on that one. But that's all right. You know, they're buying more honey. It's not like I'm losing money because they brought the jar back. They're going to be buying more honey.
Right.
Do any of you guys bank queens?
I did last year, but I haven't this year done any.
I watched a fairly interesting online seminar on it.
That little jar there is only like $1.25.
I think I might have watched the same one, Doug. It was kind of interesting.
30 cents.
Yeah.
What? Who had the banking video?
Was it down in Washington State? Was it, Brad?
Let me look back. I'll see if I can find it.
Was it
Harris Joe Bear? Maybe.
I'll look back. I'll find it. It might take me a minute.
I've got about 15 or 20 queens that I've left in a hive just to see how it works.
Now, is that queen right hive with a queen excluder, and then you put the queens above that, or is it queenless?
It's queenless.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you see? Hey, Doug, did you see Bob Benny's video? He has a hive like that right outside his retail place.
Yeah,
that's the last one I just seen. It was queenless hive, and he had a frame with the queens in there.
Yeah,
and then on both sides of the frame, I believe it was open brood. Was it in that hive?
He keeps adding brood to it.
He keeps adding brood to it, but there was always open brood or maybe it was just brood.
I think he did put 2 frames of open brood in there to try to make sure they weren't going to go laying worker or something like that.
Western Apiculture Society.
But
I think it was.
Might have been, yeah.
I did it last year in a Queen Right colony.
Okay.
I just what I did is it was a single deep. I put I pulled up some frames of brood and dropped some comb down on the bottom, put the queen excluder on it, and then I just right on top of the queen excluder in the middle, I put my battery tray with my queens in it, 25 queens, and then the brood were on the outside of that, so the nurse bees would come up onto the brood and also onto the queens, and then just filled the box up, and that worked.
Yeah, that's what Bob had. He had that plastic JZBZ battery tray, I guess you call it, but he had it mounted in a wooden frame.
Yeah. I commented and asked him the question, how long will they last? And also, how often do you add the brood? And he said they add brood no more than once a week. And he said he thinks they'll last about a month. He said they very rarely go more than a week or two. He said most time it's just a few, because they got people, they take some of those when they get ready to go out, and they sell some of those in the retail shop. So,
well, this group actually overwintered queens.
Really?
And some were virgin, some were mated.
That's incredible.
Yeah, was all news to me. You could do that.
Well, I can guarantee you one thing, Doug. If I put $1,000 worth of queen and tried to overwinter them, I'd have $0 worth of queen coming into the spring. Here,
Yeah,
that's
they,
what I would.
they said you would have some losses over the winter, but I think they something like 40% survived, something like that.
It's pretty incredible, really.
Yeah.
I thought that.
Now, the only thing that I've heard in the past, like a virgin queen, if she can't get out and get mated with it, you know, let's say it's bad weather in normal circumstances, she won't, her mating capabilities either diminished or something like that. And then if you bank a mated queen and she can't lay, then she has issues of starting back up, from what I've heard.
She will definitely shrink down. I know that.
She'll shrink down for sure. She'll do that within hours,
Yeah.
is what, and all that. But
I my first year, I bought 2 queens from Texas Bee Supply, or the Bee Supply, and one of them was big, fat. And I put her in, and then the one of them looked like, I looked at it, I said, that queen's no good. I put it in another split. The one that was big and fat got killed like immediately. I didn't know what I was doing. I was a brand new beekeeper. The other one got mated, and I'm still raising queens off of that queen that I wrote off from that being so small. As soon as she started laying, she just blew up.
Bob, I put that link in the private chat if you want to share it.
yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, that was an interesting presentation. It's almost 2.5 hours long.
That's all right, as long as it's got lots of good information.
Good information for
I
sure.
was under the same impression as you, Charlie, but they said virgins, no problem. You could keep them there for a month, 2 months, then have them mate and just go about business. Wow. If it was mated, the same thing. And that was all news
it's like
to me.
I had some virgins here, and I put one virgin. It was they came out of the incubator. I put them in JZBZ cages, and I got a phone call real quick and saying, "Hey, I got queens. I'm going to give them to you." You know, they're because I had to leave for work or whatever. So I got them. You know, I like to at least make my splits 24 hours ahead of time before I would put a virgin in there. And I'm like, okay, I'll put her in there in a cage so she can get fed. And then I'll come back the next day and then pop the cork on her and stuff like that. And I had one that she died. They must have not have fed her or something like that. And I had some other ones. I just opened them up. You know, I could watch them, you know, where they were not trying to be aggressive. And I just let her walk on in. And I know Brad, he just gets them and just lets them walk in anytime. But I mean, I've done that too, but I always like to have that hive queenless for a certain period of time. So they're more acceptive of that virgin and all that, you know, not having the pheromones of where you've split off of another queen or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know whether or not they would, you know, last. I mean, maybe a month or so might be okay, but I don't know whether you could get them through the winter like that. I'm going to have to watch that video. That really, I mean, I just kind of clicked on the link here and just kind of get a gist of it. And like, it looked really nice. Glad you brought that up. That's
it was all news to me anyway. And I've got a few, I do my grafting into Nicot cups. And then I use those cages, and I don't use an incubator. I just leave everything right in a hive.
Right.
And I've had some in there now. The first batch I probably had in there for 2 weeks and used the queens, and they seemed to be fine. But I've left a bunch in there, maybe going on a month now. So we'll see how they do, I guess.
All right. So you're grafting into a Nicot cup.
Yeah. I don't use the Nikot. Well, years ago I bought one of those Nikot systems, and I could never get.
Oh, yeah. Now I had to think of what the Nikot.
Yeah.
Nikot. It's a little. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I could never get that to work. But I use their cells
Yeah.
and their bar, and then the cages work really good on them. So that's how I do all of my grafting.
So you take and well, you would graft into those and then put them on a bar,
Yep,
and then they're going to draw a cocoon down,
yep,
and then you push the cage up on it and lock it in.
yeah.
And do it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. I got that. I got a system like that already set up. Maybe I'll try that.
I think that's a good idea. I'm going to modify my grafting bar to fit those hair roller cages like that. Is that what you use, Doug? The hair roller cages?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I bring them in from the apiary into my incubator and put them in the hair roller cages. And then I was thinking, well, why am I doing that? Put the hair roller cage right on the grafting bar, and then I don't even have to walk them in.
Yeah,
They'll emerge in the cage, take it out.
And
Yeah.
the bees will feed them for you. You don't have to remove the feed
Yeah.
them.
Take them out, mark them, put them in my mating nukes. I did.
I
There was
could-
3 of them this morning that emerged. I put in.
I could never get that Nikot system to work when I was using that little cage. If you could ever get the queen to lay, once the eggs were in there, the bees would just remove them after.
Really? Wow.
But I'll use the cells and the bar and the cages work fine.
So you attach those attachments to a regular cell bar,
Yeah,
and then you put that little cup in there, and then you graft into that cup, put
Yeah.
it in your cell builder so they can make a cocoon, and then you put your cage, and then you just leave that either in a cell finish or not a cell finisher, I guess a
My-
queen
my-
right
yeah.
or
I-
a queen
my-
right hive with a queen excluder below or something.
My starter and finisher is the same thing. In the yard where our honey house is, I keep
Yeah.
about a dozen real good hives that I play with, and
Okay.
I'll graft into a bar. I'll pull the queen out of a double deep, and I just put her in a nuke, sit her up on top with one frame of brood, so she's not in there. Start once the queens have started in the cells. I'll drop the queen back in the bottom box, put an excluder, get rid of any queen cells, and finish
You
them
say
that
you're
way.
doing 1 bar in that, Doug? Like 15,
I'll do 40,
40?
2 bars.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
It ought to be a nice strong hive.
They're 2 double deep. It's a double deep, and it's
Yeah.
bees from one end to the other. Yeah.
So you don't add anything to it. You don't put any more brood or bees or anything.
No room to add anything to it.
That's a
I
nice.
just got a huge hive. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think I might have to get set up for that.
It's a lazy man's way of doing it.
Well, there's a girl I mentor. She does basically the same thing.
Yeah.
She goes out. She goes out to her yard. She lives in town, so her bees are outside of town. Goes out to the yard, takes the queen out of the hive, which is exactly what you're saying, and then waits 4 days, and then comes back, and anything that was an egg is ready to graft. So then she just does the same thing, puts the bars in the hive, and lets them build them.
My biggest problem, I'm not young like you, Brad. I'm a little shaky, so
Young, thank
so
you.
I lose a few. I lose a few that way.
Well, I lose a lot.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's coming on 11 o'clock here, so I know
Yeah.
tomorrow's Friday, and we got Charlie tomorrow night. So
No,
bring good conversation tomorrow and good topics. We can
Once
pick this
again,
up tomorrow night.
once again, Mark Miller joins us at the end of the
No,
chat.
he actually was in live before
Oh,
he
was
came in, and then he.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I missed that.
And then he said if you don't get the cell out after hatching,
They will die.
they
Yeah.
will die.
Mine stay in the air roller cage. They'll stay in there overnight. I just checked them just a minute ago. So if they emerge soon, then they'll be there till morning, and they seem okay. Put a little dot of honey in the bottom of that cage.
Yeah, that's always been my problem. I mean, you have that little cap, and there's that little section there, and you can put like a droplet of honey in there.
Yeah.
But they seem like they still like the jelly up in that.
Oh yeah, they're always fussing with the cell. They always want to go back in there.
Yeah, and all that. Now, these cells that were given to me, I think there were 7 of them, and I guess what happened is the one queen that died in there, she must have hatched within just a couple hours after I put her in there, and then the rest of them hatched that night. Where I had 6 of them to deal with, but I had them in the hair roller cages and stuff, and then I transferred them over to JZBZ. But I had some JZBZ cups that had candy in it, and I'm talking old candy. And I put them out in a 2-frame mating box. I had locked them up, to keep the bees from going back to the parent hive. I said, okay, I'll put that JZBZ there with that virgin in there, and I'll come back tomorrow because I wanted them like a 24-hour thing with the pheromones of the other hive. Shoot, I come back, man, they chewed her out, released her, and everything. I said, well, that's a strong
really?
bunch. Yeah, they chewed that stuff out.
I thought you said they were standing on that cage with jackhammers trying to get that dried up old candy out of there.
No, I'm like, it was 4 out of 5. They chewed her out.
Wow.
And released her. I said, man, I'm like, I mean, that stuff I think was pretty, it was old, and the other one wasn't. I went ahead and released her. It's like, geez, but queen rearing, I think it's the most fun thing in beekeeping.
It's probably the most rewarding, maybe not financially, but the most rewarding and one of the most challenging, because there's always little things you can do to fine tune it, and different ways to do it too. People say, oh, you have to do it this way. No, you don't. There's so many different ways. Like, like Doug was saying, he does it this way, and I do it a different way. I do it sort of like Ian, but not like Ian, and I sort of like, this and not like them. And my normal thing is a cell builder, queenless cell builder, and I go in there, put the graft in. 6 days later, it's capped. Take it out, put it in the incubator. I like the incubator, where I don't have to go out in the hive and mess with them. It's a little more efficient for me, especially when you're selling cells or something like that. But anyway. I like that I can check it. It's in the house here. I can check it first thing in the morning. Then I can pull the virgins out, mark them, put them in a little JZBZ, and walk them to the apiary. It's so easy to know the timing on it. Get them in there right away.
Exactly.
If you're doing cells, you just do the cells. You just put the cells in. But I'm kind of stupid, so I do virgins.
I found about virgins, like you were been telling us and all. I think the virgins much better. It takes all the guesswork out and everything else.
Well, a little bit extra work to do it that way, but because you have to do it on their timing. But there's you never lose a mating loop because you didn't have a cell emerge, right?
Yeah,
100% emergence.
That's what I'm saying. I don't have to go out there and check whether see the cell emerge. I know the virgin is in there because I put her in there, and I know okay, come back in 2 weeks.
And when you go back in 2 weeks, if you choose to go back in 2 weeks, and she's already marked, so you're looking for a marked queen in that nuke.
That and eggs and larvae and all that.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm going to check out too. I got to get up tomorrow myself. So.
Okay,
Charlie. See everybody. Doug, see you.
Yeah,
Phil.
we'll catch us later sometime.
Nice to see you.
Yeah,
all right.
we'll be there
See you
tomorrow.
now.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.